Here we go. Brothers, gal, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mike Files. 52 miles east of Jellystone Park. We got Tyler Tracey in the house again tonight. Got a badass Nirvana shirt on, dude. I didn't even see that earlier, man. That's dope.
Right. Yeah,
that was
got it for $5.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that at?
Some dude.
That's cool, man. That's good shit. Some dude
was selling them for $5 out of a box.
Yeah? Where at?
At Wendy's.
Wendy's. Nirvana box shirt from Wendy's.
Yeah.
Let's get you in the picture a little more. There we go. There's my foot adjustment. Ladies and gentlemen, that's some highly technological maneuvering there. Anyway, here we are. It is Sunday evening, and we've just been sitting here watching the dumpster fire.
Yeah.
That's going on. We got a lot of things. It's always a lot of things. But, you know, one of these days I'd like to just say, you know what? Damn, it was a strawberry alarm clock today. It's just wonderful.
That would be nice.
It's just all this bullshit, this bullshit. You know, maybe we shouldn't get involved. I always find myself in the middle of this argument of like, you know, do I just become a? Oh, that's nice. Just become a numbnut. There we go. Clipped in. That's probably gonna help. Do you just become a numbnut and just not care about the shit and just, slink around throughout your day? And oh God, it never fails.
Never fails.
As soon as we start, fucking, there goes.
Seemed like it stayed on for a long time that time.
Yeah, it was a little bit longer than usual. But do you just become a dipshit and just wander around like the rest of these schlep rocks and just kind of fucking just crawl the earth, and not worry about, to think about anything? I mean, it doesn't really matter, I guess, in the whole scheme of things. Our lives are really fucking, we're just tiny little ants, really. But I mean, you think about it. I mean, you have kids and shit. You want to see your kids like grow up in a fucking world that's decent and, where they're like free and have opportunities and not just told what to do and inundated and be able to think free and think critically and, I mean, you don't want your, I mean, right now at this point in my life, I mean, the age I'm at, it's like, they've thrown everything at me they can throw at me. I'm not scared or worried about it, but I certainly don't want to see my son grow up in a world that I see coming down the pike in a in an Orwellian 1984 type thing where
dystopia.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're at. We're in a dystopian fucking place right now. And it just seems like everybody just keeps getting more and more stupid. I mean, I just don't understand it. We're shutting people down. We're not allowing people to speak. I mean, Twitter is kicking off elected, elected, representatives in our government. They're getting kicked off the platform because they say that they think that everybody should have the right to decide whether or not they want to take the vaccine. Yeah, well, what was that?
I had like a little something in my throat.
You got the fucking COVID, dude. You better
probably get the Omicron.
Where's your fucking mask, man? God damn it. Yeah. Nirvana is your mask.
That's right.
You put a paper towel on your head. I really don't care if somebody comes in here that's COVID positive.
I'm so over it. I don't care either.
I'd probably lick their forehead.
I have surgery this Friday, dude, and I'm going to have to go through testing again. Just to have a surgery? Just to have a surgery, yeah.
Oh, God. They have tests?
I don't know.
Because it's from what I hear, the tests are like fucking there are none of them around.
I mean, I imagine everybody else I've ever known has had to have a test,
a COVID test.
Yeah, before you can undergo any sort of procedure. Yeah.
Well, just obviously just in the last 2 years.
Right.
You didn't have to before.
No.
Before you just got fingered by that one guy.
Freddie?
They'd put you under and he'd finger you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they had that guy here at that surgery center here in town.
Oh, what was that guy?
Yeah.
I forgot about him.
Yeah, he was fingering women and shit when they were out.
Yeah, what a creep.
Yeah. The funny thing is that, like, when I got out of prison, his wife was the one that called me and told me that I owed $25,000 in back child support. And I said, well, you're going to be hearing from my attorney. She goes, well, I look forward to it. I said, I do too. And then the best day ever was when she called and she said, Mr. File, just called to let you know that we dropped this whole thing. It's gone. And I said, pardon me one moment. She's like, excuse me. I said, pardon me one moment while I laugh in your face. And I laughed and I just hung up the phone. That was her husband that was diddling women when they were put under. I mean, that's pretty shady shit, dude. That's pretty, I mean, dude, that's pretty fucking, that's like pretty grody.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're talking about, you got a female that's going, into surgery. That's already it's a stressful enough scenario.
Sure it is.
And then you've got some guy that's like reaching under the sheets and,
playing with
doing
your
French ticklers and shit.
Square.
Nah, dude, that ain't cool.
No.
I mean, that ain't cool at all. And I knew some females.
Yeah, he was the anesthesiologist or something, right?
Something like that, man.
He wasn't a doctor.
He was the diddler.
Yeah.
Dirk Diddler.
Yeah, the mad diddler.
The French tickler. I shouldn't even, we shouldn't even make fun of that or laugh about it, but being who we are. Anyway, if any of the females are listening to this that actually went through that, I seriously, I'm sorry that you went through that. I do have compassion and think that was a fucking terrible thing. People shouldn't have to go. You shouldn't have to go through that. You shouldn't have to be put under and then you get Dirk Fiddler.
Yeah,
whatever. I mean, that's not right. Especially with all the money that you're paying for it. I mean, good God, how much does a fucking surgery cost? What's yours going to cost? Oh, you got...
Mine's a workers' comp situation.
Yeah, so you're covered.
Mine's free 99.
You're covered. Except for your former employers.
Except for them, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to have to eat that. Well, they're just going to have their rates go up.
Rates bumped up, yeah. That's I kind of feel bad. I was only employed by them for like a month when I got hurt.
And what happened? You were drinking out of the toilet and the lid fell on your head?
Yeah, and then I tried to get it up and I slipped on some water and I landed on my shoulder.
Yeah. And the handle got caught on your leg with a fish hook.
Yeah, it was just a whole ordeal.
Flopping around like a goldfish in there, toilet water going everywhere.
Yeah, it was really
Lincoln logs floating all over.
Toilet was overflowing.
Just kidding. Man. Just kidding. Sorry.
It's all right.
I'm just making jokes. Hey, rest in peace, man. Bob Saget passed away this evening. They found him passed away in a Florida hotel room, 65 years old. Bob Saget was a hilarious fucking guy. I mean, for everybody that just remembers him from Full House.
Old Danny Tanner.
That wasn't even close to who he was. If everybody's ever seen The Aristocrats, you know, we were talking about that earlier.
You should have pulled up a clip of that.
Oh God, I'll just leave it up to the audience. If you want to see Bob Saget say some crazy shit, then pull up the movie called The Aristocrats, and it's a joke that many comedians have told over, you can just put your own spin on it. It's a crazy joke. And the idea is just to get as absolutely lewd, disgusting,
irreverent.
Yeah. I mean, just as rotten as you can with the joke. So there's really not a punchline. I think the end of the joke is the Aristocrats.
Well, yeah, the talent agent says, well, what do you call it? Interesting, you know? What do you call this act? The Aristocrats. Yeah.
And you can tell it any way you want. I mean, it's bad.
Yeah.
But it's not that. I mean, you have to be into like stand-up comedy and understand that, a stand-up comedian's job is to is to push
the envelope.
That line.
Yeah.
Go as far as you can with it, and take it to that level where people go, oh. Like Dave Chappelle. Look at Dave Chappelle being
Dave Chappelle. That's exactly what I was just thinking.
Dude, Dave Chappelle is one of the greatest of all time. He's up there with Richard Pryor. He is up there with Lenny Bruce. He is up there with George Carlin. He's up there with Rodney Dangerfield. He's up there with, I mean, there's so many comedians that you could arguably say he is the greatest. I mean, he walked away from $50 million, man, and just disappeared and went to Africa because he didn't like what was going on with the Chappelle show.
Yeah.
They basically hijacked that shit from him, and then he didn't get fucking paid. You know, and that's why he's saying, like, when it's out there and they're putting it out there on YouTube and shit like that, not to watch it. And apparently Netflix has paid him, you know, and he's got a good
Netflix
relationship with them. But how are they canceling him? I mean, all these, you know, and he calls them the alphabet people. But I mean, he never says anything. I mean, he doesn't say anything derogatory about the LGBTQ LMNOP community. No,
not at all.
I mean, he's making jokes, and the thing is, like, you got to be able to make fucking jokes about yourself. If you can't make, I mean, if you know what, I got nothing against anybody doing whatever the fuck they want to do. It's your life, it's your body. If you want to go from Bruce Jenner to Caitlyn Jenner, that's fine. Okay, great. Are you happy? Are you doing no harm? And that's a big thing. I mean, yeah, if you're doing no harm and you're living your life how you want to live, and you want to become whatever it is, you know, it's your life.
Yeah, do what makes you happy.
But the thing is, too, is that you might catch I mean, you know, you might have to fucking laugh at yourself. I laugh at myself on a daily basis. I mean, Jesus Christ, I'm a clown. I do stupid shit all the time. I'm constantly embarrassing myself. And, I mean, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, you absolutely have to be able to laugh at yourself.
And like Caitlyn Jenner, I've watched her on roasts sit there and just roar when people are making jokes about her that are, I mean, you know, on those Comedy Central roasts and shit like that. I mean, they can
people be clowning her.
They can get pretty. I mean, they can get kind of nasty. And I mean, the one that she was on, she's over there just roaring, and then gets up there and gives it back to him. You know?
Yeah.
And that's what free speech is about. You know? Instead of sitting there and crying about somebody saying something that hurts your little feelings, it's like you have the opportunity to stand up and say something back.
Yeah, you can definitely have a rebuttal.
Right, and that's the whole idea with free speech. That's the idea is, like, you know, if you combat bad speech with better speech.
It's like a debate.
Right.
Like, you know, like
and if you just don't have the capacity to come back at something and it just makes you so mad that you're just so triggered that you can't even, you know, you can't even, you know, figure out what to even say. You're just mad now. They should be canceled. This whole canceling people for medical misinformation, you know, and I mean, I've been shut. Thankfully, I was granted my appeal last week.
Yeah, that is.
You know, I was surprised. I didn't think that would happen.
One for the little guy.
Yeah, the very little guy, the guy that's got 3.2 viewers. But I mean,
I think you have 54 subscribers now.
I know. I'm fucking going through the roof, man.
I know it's going. It's getting there.
Just taking off. Just fucking.
What are you gonna do when it hits 100?
I don't know. I need to get the T-shirts made because I said the first 50 we're going to get a free T-shirt. So
I'm waiting on it.
Yeah, you'll get your T-shirt.
I'll wear it on.
It'll be for sale at Wendy's.
Yeah, it'll be $7.50 though.
$5 at Wendy's, and you just take these shits. Free advertising. I'm gonna do stickers and shit like that too. I got it all drawn up and ready to go. I'm just trying to figure out which way I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna have Pook do the fucking T-shirts, but I'll probably do like drop shipping on the stickers and that. I don't know. I just don't know. And I'm looking at doing some voiceover stuff like that through Fiverr. So if anybody needs an American English baritone voice to do a commercial script,
you're their man.
Hit me up on Fiverr.
I don't even know what Fiverr is.
It's a kind of a digital service.
Okay.
So I'm offering voiceover acting, proofreading and editing, freelance writing services, things like that.
So it's kind of like a LinkedIn sort of thing.
Kind of. Basically, what you do is you post gigs on there, and whatever your gig is, you can post numerous ones. Like if you got, if you do proofreading, like because people need scripts or whatever, articles, short stories, whatever. They want somebody to proofread it.
Yeah.
So I offer that, editing, voiceover.
Have you gotten any gigs?
I just got on there this morning.
Oh,
so
cool.
I've got to do a voiceover demo reel. I'll probably do that after the podcast tonight. So I got to sit down and do like some fake commercials, just so people can hear my voice,
your voice,
and then not see my picture, because then I won't get anything. Like we don't want that guy.
Maybe you could get a little bit of a respectable picture taken, suit and tie or something.
I don't even have one of those.
T-shirt,
I could photo edit. I could do Photoshop though.
Yeah, you could just cut your head out, put it on.
Just put it on. Whatever, whoever.
Elon Musk's body.
I don't think I want to be Elon Musk. That guy's weird. I mean, he's smart, but he's creepy.
Yeah, but
he's got weird.
He's got
weird.
Works for him.
Well, it has. There's a lot of different. There's a lot of different takes on him. And I think there's a lot of haters out there too. Typically, if you're successful, you're going to have a lot of haters. But the guys that said that they actually came up with the idea for Tesla, that they got ousted, and that,
well, that's appropriate.
They said that he basically he came up with the funding. I think he dumped in like $6 million to start with, and then basically just kind of ousted the two guys, is according to the two guys.
Sure.
Who knows? They could be. I mean, people say anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. He seems like a pretty intelligent guy.
Note.
I mean, he seems like a pretty intelligent guy. I mean, he sent 2 fucking things up into fucking space, and they landed back at the same time, backwards.
Yeah.
He sent a car out there that's headed towards Mars right now with a dummy in it or something, just to add to the space trash. I don't know what to think about that space trash. How did we get all that shit up there in space? The same way we got it all out in the Pacific Ocean? We haven't been up there that much to get all that. I mean, they show those maps, that we've got it. They said that I don't even know how many millions of pieces of space trash are up there floating around. So they say. How to get up there? I mean, we when did we first supposedly go to the moon? It was in the 60s?
Yeah, the 60s. 64?
Something like that. Now you had Sputnik. And then, I mean, we haven't been back to the moon. I mean, you've got the International Space Station up there. I mean, I just don't understand how there's all that space garbage up there floating around. Who'd want to go up there in orbit? I mean, if you get hit by a piece of space trash and you're in orbit, I mean, dude, you got to have like a force field or something on, right?
July 20th, 1969.
There you go.
That's when we went to the moon for the first.
There you go. Yeah. And I remember the one that blew up when I was in grade school. That was like one of the first times I ever brought a TV into the classroom, and we watched that happen. I think we ended up going home for the day. Everybody was just traumatized.
Yeah.
Because wasn't it that one, the female that was on that crew, she was a school teacher or something? And I remember watching it.
I don't remember.
I remember they wheeled
I'm a few years younger than you, so.
Yeah, I remember they wheeled that big-ass TV into the classroom, and everybody's like, whoa. And then they turned it on, and we're all like, yeah, America, wave a flick. And then, boom. All the little girls were crying and shit. They're trying to turn the TV off, and they came over the intercom. Children, we're gonna send you home for the day.
And then all of a sudden, all them frowns turned upside down.
Oh, it was traumatic, man. Because I mean, we were doing a whole like unit in class about the astronauts and space travel and all that shit, And I remember it was like in the Weekly Reader. It had a picture of that lady that I mean, everybody was pretty amped on it. And then just to watch that thing just go up and then just boom.
When was that?
Now, I remembered it in a different year than what they say. And this is one of those things that I think is kind of the Mandela effect, because I distinctly remember it happening when I was in second grade. And history says it happened in 1988.
Which would have put you in what grade?
I would have been in like 6th grade at that point. And it definitely wasn't when I was in 6th grade. I remember I was in Mrs. Cook's class, Livingston Elementary, in 2nd fucking grade. I distinctly remember it. I mean, it's like the same thing as the Bernstein. We've talked about this with the Mandela effect, haven't we?
Yeah, a little bit.
It's, it's like, I don't know, like people out there weigh in on this if you're listening, because a lot of people say it's, what history says right now, like the Bernstein Bears is what I remember it as, right? The Bernstein, Berestein.
Berenstein.
Right.
That's how
now it's Berestain.
That's a lot of vowels.
It's Berenstain. And the Mandela effect comes about because a lot of people think that Nelson Mandela was never freed, that he died in prison. Now, what do you remember about Nelson Mandela?
I don't remember a lot about Nelson Mandela.
What do you remember about yesterday?
I don't remember a lot about yesterday.
You got a Nirvana shirt at Wendy's.
Yeah,
I got a Wendy's shirt.
Yesterday was a good day.
A lot of people think that Mandela died in prison when in fact he didn't. There's this kid named Max Laughlin, and he's got to be 15, 16, really smart kid. But he's come up with a theory, and basically what he has said is that his theory is that when the Large Hadron Collider at CERN, over in wherever it's at, Switzerland,
yeah.
That when they collided those two particles together, that it skewed us into an alternate universe. And the one we were in stopped. And that's why there are these little differences. And it's crazy. I mean, there's a whole list of this stuff. There's all kinds of videos on it. And I'm just bringing up a couple of them. But there's a ton of them that you can, you read through, and everybody has a different recollection.
Take on it, yeah.
So I don't know if that's just like, if it's something to do with the human condition. But I mean, I'm pretty good with remembering things. I mean, I don't typically forget people's names or events. I might not remember what I did yesterday.
Yeah.
Except if I got a T-shirt at Wendy's like that. But
you never pass up a good
But
deal.
the Mandela effect is kind of crazy. It's kind of weird because the list can go on and on and on, and it's crazy. A lot of the stuff you're going, no, that's not how that went. But then they say, yes, it is.
That's crazy though. We started this talking about the Mandela effect because you remember in the space shuttle exploding 4 years different.
Right.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
That's not just a little change.
No, it's not.
That's drastic.
Right. And in my mind's eye, and everybody else that's my age that I've spoken with about this thing, they agree with me that it happened in 1984. Yeah.
See, I would have been 3.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't have remembered that.
No.
You wouldn't have remembered it if you were 6.
No, I probably.
Or if it happened yesterday.
I don't think we owned our first TV really in my house until 86.
Yeah.
We didn't have a TV at all.
Well, I remember it was a crazy thing for us to have the TV. I mean, the custodian wheeled the thing in on a cart. It was like locked to the cart. It's one of those big ass like big deep,
Yeah, the old tube.
Oh yeah, and
mega tube TVs.
Yeah, and I guess they put cable outlets in the school classrooms that year. I remember we had one in high school in social studies. And my good buddy Dan Schaefer, rest in peace, buddy. We had this social studies teacher, man, and he was just a goony bird. And so Danny comes in one day, and it was a Zenith TV that they'd put in the class, right?
Sure.
So we'd get there early, and Danny'd bring his remote from home. He had the same TV at home.
Oh.
So he'd bring his remote, and before class would start, he'd turn the TV on. He'd turn it to MTV, and this was back when MTV had music, right? It wasn't back before it was like just whatever the shit is that it is now.
It's just all reality.
But you actually had like, music videos and shit. And so the day we got that thing in there, he realized that. And then so the next day he comes in with that remote and he's telling me, he's like, Mike, watch, this is gonna. He goes, this is gonna drive Samson nuts. And what the hell? Anyway, so the teacher comes in and he starts his bullshit, and Danny's sitting there. He's got that thing under the desk, and he just hits the power button. And we had turned it on MTV, and it was cranked up all the way. It came on as like Yo MTV Raps.
Okay.
And it's just blasted. And of course, the teacher loses his mind. He's like, "What?" In the, he can't. He goes and he turns the thing off. Danny turns it back on, and this goes on. Monkey see, monkey do. Right. Finally, the teacher decides that because I'm the bad kid in class, and I'm always getting thrown out of class. Like he would throw me out like at least twice a week. And so he comes up to me. He's like, I know you're behind this file. I know you're doing this." I'm like, "Oh yeah, Mr. Sampson, I'm fucking magic. Abracadabra," and I fucking point at the TV, and Danny's over there, and he goes, click. He lost his mind. He throws me out of class. So I go down to the library. Of course, the librarian sees me. "Oh, you got thrown out of Sampson?" Yeah. Sit down there and read a book, whatever. Spit loogies out the window on people, And this went on. This went on for a good couple of weeks. Jesus Christ. You gotta kill that fucking thing.
That's not
Is that me? Oh, Jesus. I got to kill that thing. Anyways. So, this goes on, and finally the teacher, he calls the custodian in one day. He's livid. He can't figure out what to do. He's thrown me out of class. I don't know how many times over this. And the custodian comes in. And he's like, "I don't know what's going on with this TV. It just turns on." And the custodian looks at him and goes, "Huh?" Walks over to the wall, unplugs it, walks out. That's all he had to do from jump. Just unplug the damn thing. If you wanted to put a video in, then you plug it in and watch, I mean, it was hilarious, man. And it was his old grumpy fucking custodian, too, man. That guy was always, you're going to be grumpy if you're a custodian in a high school, dude. Think about how much sawdust he had to throw on puke. That orange sawdust.
Yeah.
Remember that shit?
I certainly do.
God, somebody puke. And just the smell of the orange sawdust mixed with the puke was absolutely disgusting. And then think about having to be that guy to have to scoop that shit up and dispose of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be a
kid puke that's not even your kid. I mean, it's bad enough when it's your kid, but it's somebody else's kid and that's your job. To throw sawdust on
vomit, on
kid puke, and then scoop it up and didn't have to fucking scrub the floors and shit. Ugh. And clean up the bathrooms and ugh.
And plus getting razzed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go out there and hug your local custodian, people.
They got to have a National Custodians Day, don't they?
They should. If they don't, we should start one for these guys, because you know what? The world definitely needs custodians. There's no way around it.
I think I'd be a custodian. I wouldn't mind it. I don't think. Yeah. Just kind of do your own thing.
I remember the guy in grades. I just remember the keys that they had and everything. I remember, God, they were just so grumpy. But I'd be,
I'd want to be a night custodian, I think.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. If I was going to be,
and then they'd have those little closets, and they'd have all their mop buckets and this and that and their brooms and
then their chemicals.
And they'd have like like be in there playing like gin rummy, sitting on buckets,
Oh yeah,
smoking cigarettes. Back when you could smoke in the schools. I
don't think I was ever around for that.
Oh God, the teachers' lounge when I was in grade school, that was fucking they'd open that door, man, and a fucking cloud of smoke that would come out of there.
Oh, yeah.
They were all in there just hacking.
Just sucking them down.
Just hacking butts, man.
And that's what I feel like, man. I feel like
you've been hacking butts?
Yeah, I've been smoking on something, but I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't smoked a cigarette in like 4 years.
I haven't smoked in, 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to smoke.
We used to
could.
Yeah.
We still could, too. Oh, God, there goes that fucking fridge. It's plugged in underneath the thing now under that table. We're just having all kinds of technical difficulties between the phones going off, and I'm just going to turn mine off. Power off. You're off. That's that. That'll do. Thank you, Tyler.
You're welcome.
All right. So anyway, we kind of got off on a side tangent. I've got this list of notes. So what I want to talk about, the first thing I was looking at was Tim Pool. Tim Pool, for those of you who don't know, he has a Tim Pool podcast, IRL podcast, and he recently moved out of the city, and they got a place out of town, out in the, somewhere in Maryland. I'm not sure. Maryland's not that big, so it can't be like
that far out
too
of town.
far out there. But they had Marjorie Taylor Greene on the show. I think it was 3 nights ago, and she's been taken off of Twitter.
Taylor Greene or Green Taylor?
Marjorie Green Taylor Greene. I think it's Green Taylor. I think it's MGT is the initials. I think. I could be wrong. Marjorie from Georgia.
Marge.
Anyway, she's constantly been taken down off Twitter for supposedly giving out medical misinformation, when really all she said is that people should just have the right to choose what they want to do. It's their body. You want to get the vaccine, get the vaccine. Don't get it. I don't see anything wrong with that. I've been taken down for medical misinformation. And like I said,
medical misinformer.
Thankfully, well, I came at him and said, look, everything that I've said, everything I've quoted is within, it's all from the NIH, the CDC, and the WHO, and they agreed, and they let me come back up again, So she's been deplatformed. There's a bunch of these triggered people that can't stand her, and so what they do is they start their podcast at 8. It goes till 10. And then typically people are seeing it by like 10 o'clock the next morning. Okay. So the next night they've got Officer Tatum, Brandon Tatum, who was a SWAT officer. He was a police officer in Arizona. And he's on the Tim Pool podcast. Oh, there we go again. And so they're sitting there. And here's this guy that's a retired police officer and a SWAT member, SWAT officer, sitting in studio, and all of a sudden they realize there's police inside Tim's house, wandering around. And he's like, what in the, Tim gets up, and here's Brandon Tatum. He's just sitting there. And, he just keeps on having a conversation with Luke across the table. And Tim goes out there, and, whoever it was that he had outside, they tried to keep the police from coming in. They asked if they had a warrant. The cop said, no, we don't need a warrant because we've had a call saying there were 2 murders here, and that there's a gentleman that's got a firearm and that murdered 2 people, and that he's suicidal and he's going to kill himself. And they're like, so we are coming in. Right. And apparently under the law, they can do that. Now, to me, that seems like a pretty big violation of your 4th Amendment rights. I mean, it's the same kind of idea as, you remember when like the Ready reports were a big thing?
Yeah, oh yeah. When people
like my friend and his ex-wife, they would Ready report each other whenever they'd see each other. If they would pass each other on the highway,
they'd both be
they'd call each other in. If they didn't even know, they'd see each other. And they got both of them got DUIs. Like 2 or 3 apiece. And it's like, what are you? And so that, you say you don't like somebody, you pass them on the highway. Oh, watch this. So just because you call them in, oh, hey, this person's driving erratically, driving this such and such vehicle with this license plate, headed down this highway,
you're getting pulled over.
And then they pull you over because somebody who didn't like you or has a beef with you called you in. There's nobody that saw you driving erratically. It's just somebody that doesn't like you.
When I drove for Schwann, somebody called me in on a Ready report.
Probably because you were working like 16-hour days. You're probably asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, it'd been a long day.
I know. I remember when you used to work there, man. You'd work crazy ass hours.
Yeah.
That was right before you came into CB's.
Yeah, just before that.
Yeah, I remember you'd come in there and hang out with the boys, your weird friends.
Oh yeah, they were weird. I don't talk to any of them.
You had some weird friends.
I don't talk to any of them anymore.
Comic book guys and shit like that.
Yeah, they were nerds.
Guys playing Dungeons and Dragons and shit.
I didn't play that shit.
I know you didn't, but they did. Or other things. Magic the Gathering.
Pokemon.
I never even know. I still don't know what that shit is.
I don't either.
I
think it's just like Magic.
But wasn't there a big deal a while back? They had like some app thing or whatever, and people were driving around all willy-nilly trying to catch the Pokemon and getting in car accidents and shit.
Oh, yeah.
What was up with that?
Oh, yeah, where they had hidden Pokemon around the cities or whatever, and so people were like driving around trying to...
What is a Pokemon?
It's a monster. It means monster, I think.
Okay.
In Japanese.
And so I don't get it. My kid, he had all the cards and shit. He was into it for a while. I'd go in there and he'd be getting ready for school and he'd have like these tins and he'd be packing them up and he'd trade for them and shit. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's like a...
I mean, we had G.I. Joes. I guess we traded G.I. Joes.
Baseball cards,
yeah. But that was a real thing.
Yeah.
I mean, baseball was real.
Still is.
Pokemon's not. I mean, maybe Pokemon's real. Who knows? Who's to say?
Who is to say?
I mean, you know.
I know. That reminds me of that. It just reminds me of that movie Role Models.
Mm-hmm. With them doing that
LARPing or whatever.
That shit where they're out there in the
LARPing.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, live action role playing.
Yeah. Do you know they do that out in Washington State?
They do that everywhere.
They call it SCI or something. It's out in Bonnie Lake by my buddy's place. What's up, Christian Williams, by the way? And I'll give you a call later, man. We need to catch up. Hope you're doing well. But no, out by Christian's place in Bonnie Lake, man, I was out there visiting a few years back, and I'm driving by this big, huge open field, man, and I'm looking out there, and it looked like Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
I mean, these fuckers are out there, they're carrying fucking swords and goofy shit, and they're fucking walking around, and, some of them had, like, catcher's gear on for their armor.
There's a black knight that's got blood just squirting out his arm.
Toilet paper, tube swords, and... I mean, I was just like, what? I'm like, what in the fuck is going on out there, man?
I guess they really
deal, dude.
Yeah, I guess they really reinforced those things so they.
Yeah, it was huge, man. There were people everywhere. I mean, they were all over the damn place. I mean, they were running around out there. I mean, and you had some hot females running around, and and they had like
them hot cosplay chicks.
Yeah, they had like food and beverage tents all set up, like a whole row of like different,
pizza,
get a turkey leg, turkey leg, the whole thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I like that.
And steins of beer or mead. I don't know what they were doing.
That'd be fun.
Peeing in their armor.
I think it would be fun.
It looked like it might have been.
I mean, really, when it gets down to it, it's fun to make fun of it, but when it comes down to it, you might really be able to take out some.
No, my buddy had an uncle. My buddy had an Uncle Beavis that was involved in it.
His real name was Beavis.
His uncle. Well, that's what we all called him, was Uncle Beavis. But he was into it.
Speaking of Beavis, I was watching. Yeah,
I poop too much.
Yeah, I was watching like one of these episodes that we did.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm kind of like Beavis because I say yeah a lot. I say yeah constantly.
Yeah, too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to Vegas. Sluts. Are you threatening me? Who was it who did cornholio recently? Somebody did cornholio. Somebody in the news played a cornholio move, pulled their shirt up over their head.
Oh, really?
God damn it. No, and I mentioned it on the show. Now, see, that's how good my memory is. Anyway, so here we go. Now we're talking about Beavis and Butthead. See how we digress? So Tim Pool's place got swatted, right? The SWAT thing started, I want to say 3-4 years ago. Then there was a cat in Wichita, Kansas that made a spoofed phone call to Los Angeles Police Department. And he gave he said that he was an individual that had killed his mother and his father. He was suicidal. He was ready to kill himself, and he was in this residence with a firearm. And he gives him the address. SWAT shows up at, I don't know if it was the address he gave them or if it was just it was a terrible mistake on all ends of the whole fucking thing. They bust down the door. This guy's got a firearm inside. He thinks somebody's breaking in his house. He opens fire on the SWAT team. The SWAT team fires back because they think that this is the guy that's in there that's got 2 bodies behind him. He's ready to off himself. He fires at them, and they're going to fire back, right? So it puts them in a position where, obviously, you can, whatever you think about police is your thing. But, if you're a cop and you get called to a scenario like that.
Yeah, with an active shooter or whatever.
And you don't know what you're fucking going into, but you have to go in because that's your fucking job. And you fucking kick that door in because no one's answering it. And then somebody fucking fires at you. You're going to return fire.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the reaction because you think that you're going into the place where this has actually gone down. Well, it turns out it was just a single dude in his house and they kill him. So he's sitting there minding his own business. And somebody busts in his door, and he pops off some shots, and they chop him down. So this guy from Wichita, they finally, they do the legwork, and they figure out where the call came from, and he's in prison right now. Excuse me, but this has happened over and over. This is something to do with Call of Duty. This is where it started, was with these idiots playing Call of Duty online, and they get so wound up with it that they would do that shit to each other. Like, some guys beating your ass at Call of Duty. I don't even know how that goes, but then you get mad, and I think they can talk shit and stuff. Sure. They have the headphones on and talk shit at each other.
I can't even imagine getting so riled up over a video game.
And then
I'm going to call.
You're going to call the police. But not only the police, but you're going to call in like a murder.
Yeah.
It's not just calling the police and saying, "Oh, such and such is debaucherous." It's like there's a double homicide. So they did this to Tim Pool. He's sitting there in the middle of a podcast, and he's got police, coming in. He was fairly cool with them. He was like, "Look," he goes, "I'm you guys have been respectful. I understand." He's like, "But here's the thing: you don't have a warrant.
Gotta go.
And I want you to please leave." And he's right in the middle of a podcast. And this is a guy that's got a big listener. He's got a big viewership. There's a lot of people that listen to Tim. I listen to Tim. Almost on a daily basis, I listen to Tim Pool. Really, I've probably watched, I don't know. He does a lot of different clip shows and shit and I need to start doing that too, is doing clips. Instead of this long form shit where they got to listen to us talk about fucking Jumanji and shit.
Yeah.
It's like a scene from fucking Jumanji.
Yeah.
So anyway, Tim Pool gets that could have turned into a really bad situation. It could have been really bad. And here you've got Brandon Tatum, Officer Tatum sitting there in studio, a retired SWAT officer, Arizona police officer. He's got a book out. He's got I like his podcast as well. I tune into him all the time. And it was all because he had, that congressperson on the night before. So I think whoever saw that day, they figured it was that day. And so they called the thing in thinking that she was there. I hope they find that motherfucker because that's some bullshit, man. You're messing with a lot of people's lives. Not only are you messing with the people's lives that are, at the residence, but you're also putting, you're putting police officers out there in a bad position.
Yeah, putting
to where somebody's going to die. Somebody could die very easily.
Lives in danger.
Yeah, and as a cop, they got to go in because if you and I don't know. And the first 2 guys that showed up, because they were outside, I don't know how far out of Baltimore or wherever they're at, but they're out there pretty deep, I guess, in Maryland, however deep you can get in Maryland. But there's the first cops, it was just 2 police officers that showed up at first, so they don't know what they're walking into. And I heard on the radio where the dispatch said, we think this might be just a SWAT, like they're getting swatted. But they still have to go in and look. They still have to go in and make sure everybody's okay. Now, how's that work, right? Say they come in and you're up to something that, I mean, in the privacy of your own home, and all of a sudden they can just come in. And what happens if they come in and say you got a pile of Bolivian cocaine sitting on the table?
Yeah.
And they come in and that's in plain sight. And then, okay, all of a sudden now your Fourth Amendment rights are gone because some asshole called in some bullshit and they get to come in. And I mean, I would think that would get thrown out in a court, you know, because there was never any probable cause in the first place other than some asshole making the call. So I would think that that asshole would be the one taking the rap for it. But hopefully they find whoever did this to him. And hopefully nobody else does this out there. You know, if I hear about anybody doing this shit, you know, I mean, really, come on. You know, that's just some nonsense. I mean, especially over some shit like because you had somebody on your podcast that you don't agree with.
Right. It's because there was some controversy surrounding
But why wouldn't you want to hear
podcast.
that person's point of view? That's the problem with society today, man. Is it like it's like you just shut everybody down because we listen to these fucking idiots on the media that say all this stupid shit, and they've been proven wrong over and over. I mean, look at the fucking Cuomo brothers and all these assholes at CNN. There's been a fucking plethora of fucking people that have been run off from CNN that have been involved in all kinds of fucking crazy ass, like fucking child porn shit. You know, this is CNN. This is where half this country gets their news from, is from these idiots. The Brian Stelter, fucking guy looks like retarded George Costanza. You know, I mean, have you seen that guy?
I haven't.
Oh, Jesus Christ. He is, I don't even know how the fuck he got on TV. If there was somebody that should never be on TV, this is that dude. I mean, he's got this, oh, God. He's just obnoxious, and he's stupid as fuck. I mean, this guy, he's just, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, he should be a grocery store bag boy. But yet here he is. He's a fucking news anchor on CNN. And then you got the Cuomo guy, and the brother Cuomo, who wins an Emmy, and then gets fucking, has to resign in fucking shame. I mean, you win an Emmy as he showed real leadership. Oh yeah, by putting a bunch of sick people in an old folks home. That's leadership right there.
Right.
Because he was too proud to fucking put people on the boats that the Navy had there when they had a ship out in the fucking New York harbor that was outfitted with every fucking thing they needed, all the medical staff, ventilators, all the bed. I mean, everything that they could possibly need for these people that were sick when COVID first hit. That was back before it was the unicorn.
That was back in.
That was when it was a thing.
That's when it was still serious.
That's when it was a thing. Yeah.
You know.
That's when Trump was That's when Trump was a racist and a xenophobe for shutting down travel from China. Yet, slow-mo Biden, you know, he shuts it down out of fucking South Africa, and the doctors are like, well, we noticed a different variant, but it's not severe. Like, no one's died. It's like cold symptoms. And he shuts it down.
That's it.
So he sat there and called Trump a fucking racist and a xenophobe when he shut down travel from the place where it fucking originated, in the lab that we funded, which has been proven.
Yeah.
So that's not medical misinformation either, people. Okay? Because it's been proven that the NIH funded Dr. Barrick. It funded EcoHealth, and EcoHealth was doing gain of function research in Wuhan. It's a fact.
Right.
So if you can call it medical misinformation if you want. Shut me down again, and we can have the argument one more time. But I'm not fucking saying anything that's not factual. This is true. This is what happened. Fauci's behind it. Okay? Fauci's making money off this shit. He's been waiting for this day since 1984 when HIV fucking hit. This dude has been behind everything, any kind of fucking major scare that we've had over the, in the last 40 years, I guess you could say, if we're going back to 84, 35 years, 34, what, I don't know, math skills,
38.
Not the best, almost 40 years. Ebola, remember the Ebola scare?
I do.
And the crazy thing was, I think there was one person that died from that shit, and it was a black dude that ended up flying into Texas, either into Dallas, Fort Worth, or into Houston. And I think there's one that flew into Atlanta, and that was it. Ebola was done. Bird flu. swine flu, SARS 1. When I was in Seattle, when I was living in Tacoma, we lived in Ruston, and I would take my dog down to the beach every day, go throw the ball for her. And there was a Asian market on my way, and it was called the SARS Market.
Oh no!
And it was during SARS.
For real?
Oh yeah, and I mean, I would laugh so hard every time I go by there. It's like, oh my god, you know. And I mean, before I'd moved down there, I lived in a neighborhood that was all Asian. Like even Safeway was not written in English.
Oh really?
There was one business in my neighborhood that actually had English
lettering.
And it was Mick Finster's Irish Pub, like across Highway 99 from my house. But like Safeway was in some kind of Asian and everything. Like
really?
Even taco time.
That's just
there was an Asian community.
Yeah,
I mean, we had a Korean Baptist church behind our house, and that's always weird to listen to hymns going on in Korean. Listening to "If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands," but it's not "If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands."
Yeah,
I mean, they're nice people. They were
yeah.
cool. They had a basketball court out back of the church, and we could go through our backyard, through our back fence, and go down there. We'd play basketball with those cats and shit. I mean, they're good people. Nothing wrong with it. I mean, it was just the neighborhood.
Yeah, I lived in a Laotian
But
neighborhood.
the SARS thing was fucking hilarious. And then there, over in Bremerton, there was a fucking Chinese buffet called the Fresh and Foodie Buffet.
The Fresh and Foodie?
Fresh and Foodie, Foody, Fresh and Foodie Buffet.
Isn't that what people are that take pictures of their food?
Right. This was before foodies, though. This was back in like the early 2000s, back when like text messaging had just become a thing, and you damn sure you had like Snake as the game on your Nokia phone.
Oh yeah.
Like you didn't have. There was. I mean, text messaging was a. I mean, I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, "What is this?" You were the one that showed me how to use T9 Word.
Right.
I remember I was sitting there one time, and I'm kink 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 kink. You're like, dude, do you not know what T9 Word is? I'm like, I don't know what that shit is. It keeps coming up on my phone. I don't know what. He's like, no, dude, hit that thing. All of a sudden, my texting just went to the moon. It improved so much.
I couldn't figure out when it first started why people would want to use it.
I got so many more messages out to chicks with that T9 Word. That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Chicks dig T9 Word.
Chicks dig T9. God. That was back when I had the phone that I'd dump in a pitcher of beer and drink the pitcher of beer and then pull the phone out and use it.
That was fun.
Those are good times.
Those were good times.
Yeah, those were the days. If those days were to come again, I bet they will. Just not for us.
Yeah, not for us. Simpler times.
They probably won't come for anybody else either, the way this fucking world's going. Our kids live on such a nanny state anymore, man. They can't do shit.
Everything's going to be
Dude, my kid
digital.
got a fucking citation, right? He's down in the fucking skate park. These two girls text him from inside the female bathroom, right? They said, you need to come in here right now. What's he do? He's a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah, what
Dumb.
teen boy?
He's dumb. He goes running in there. He walks in. He opens the door and he kind of looks his head in just to see. He doesn't go all the way in, right? They're burning paper towels and shit in there, lighting them on fire. Okay, so he sees the fire on the floor. He runs in and he fucking stomps it out with his fucking shoe, right?
Right.
Turns around. Here comes Karen, little Karen with her kid from over there in the fucking playground.
Yeah.
She comes walking right in, and there's my kid in there in the bathroom, stomping out the paper towels. What's Karen do?
Calls the cops.
Calls the police. What do? They write him a malicious mischief. They show up at my house on a Saturday morning at 7 o'clock a.m., fucking banging on the fucking door. I go out there and I go, what in the fuck is this? And they tell me what had happened. I said, are you kidding me? I said, what do you have for, I said, and they told me straight up, they said, well, the woman that called said she said she didn't see your son light anything on fire, but he was in the female's bathroom. And I said, don't you guys think that this is an issue? I said, don't you think that this is something that, like, when we grew up, like, we would have never even thought about that, like, going in the female bathroom? Like, when I was his age, I was in the old junior high. We didn't have phones. And I mean, if I was walking by the fucking female bathroom, and I can picture the one in the fucking hallway as a 7th, 8th grader, whatever, if those girls had been opening the door and asking me to come in there, I would have never even thought in a million years to even walk in that bathroom. But now, with the way that they've taught these kids about anybody can go in any bathroom, right?
Yeah.
They don't have the same boundaries that they used to have, right? Like those lines have been blurred. It's like, it's like the girl that got raped in that bathroom in fucking Virginia by a boy in a dress. And then they tried to cover it up. The school tried to cover it up. The father went to the next school board meeting and he was pissed. Like you would be pissed if your daughter got raped at school, and they tried to cover it up. They arrested the father. They took the boy that was in the dress. They sent him to another school, and he immediately turned around and did that to another female. So that's a society we live in. And so I got into an argument with the fucking prosecutor and attorney. We had a conversation about it. I said, listen, man. I said, we're this, back when I was his age, this wouldn't even be a conversation because there's no boy that I even went to school with that would even thought about going in the fucking female restroom. I was like, but now, I said, you've got kids in this middle school that are furries. They got furries running around in that middle school.
Like furries are the people with
They dress up like fucking stuffed animals. They think they're cats and dogs and shit and bunny rabbits and that.
What?
I mean, but it's all like a fetish type thing. It's not like an innocent, like, I'm a fucking kitty cat. It's like,
I'm a fucking kitty cat.
I saw these motherfuckers, dude, back in 2017. My ex-wife and I went to San Diego for a week. And the hotel we were staying in, they had one floor that was completely rented out to these furries because they were having like the fucking nerd fest down there. What is that?
Comic-Con?
Yeah. Well, there was one floor on this hotel, and we were the first ones to even get a room. It had just opened the day that we flew in. Like, we were the first ones to even have a room. Nobody had stayed in our room, but they had one floor completely. Like, we were going out to the bars and this and that at night and everything, going out to eat, going down to the beach, whatever. And, I mean, these fuckers are passing us in the fucking elevator, and they're all dressed up like full body, like, they look like a bunch of mascots. And they're up there and they got the whole floor. Yep. And they're up there and that's what they do. They just bang each other, but they keep their suits on.
Men and women.
Yeah. So that's the deal. Yeah. And so they've got these kids at the fucking Cody Middle School. I mean, and then you wonder why a kid doesn't think that it's like probably shouldn't go in the. And I sat down. I'd shoot his ass, and I thought, you know what? And I told the cops this too. I said, you know what? I said, I never thought in my wildest imagination that this was a conversation I'd have to have with my kid.
Right.
I never thought that was a conversation. I mean, that was not a conversation my dad had to have with me. I was like, dude, you don't go in the fucking women's restroom.
Yeah.
You don't go in the women's restroom. I mean, you don't. Not until you're a little bit older.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta at least be, in your 20s. I mean, I can't remember ever going in the female restroom. They're more disgusting than the men's rooms are.
Especially at the bar.
Oh, God. Horrid. As two dudes who've worked in bars, trust us right here.
Yeah.
Female restroom is not, it's not for the faint of heart.
No.
Women, you all are disgusting at a bathroom in a bar. I'm sorry. Truth hurts.
Yeah.
You're definitely not the fairer sex in that thing. I mean, we might pee on the floor a little bit, but I mean, Jesus Christ, some of the things I've seen.
It was like a war zone that in there.
Oh God, like a scene from fucking Jumanji.
It's like the opening scene from Saving Private Ryan.
Oh God. Oh Jesus. Yeah. Oh, you sick fuck. Oh, what's next? Oh. Yeah, we're going to go on this. All right, here we go. We're going to pull up this article here. This is an interesting one. Let's get this thing up here and going. All right, so here's what we got. We got Slate, right? I'm going to open that up. I'm going to cover your shirt. So, okay, Slate comes out with this article, right? So, obviously, well, for anybody paying attention, the Supreme Court is looking at what's going on with these vaccine mandates, right? And so here we go. This is Slate, okay, people? This is Slate News and Politics,
punctuated by bullets and kung fu.
Yeah, and here's the headline here: COVID is an emergency To SCOTUS's conservatives, it's also an opportunity. Where the liberal justices see sickness and death, the conservatives see a chance to crush government. And this is by Dahlia Lithwick and Mark Joseph Stern, who, we'll be hearing from me later. I'll be certainly hitting them up on Twitter. And this is ridiculous. You've got, they're coming at Judge Alito, right? And as we scroll down here, Friday's arguments revolved around 2 rules issued by the Biden administration, which are unconstitutional to begin with, okay? The first, which we'll call the employer mandate, was issued by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. That's OSHA, people. All right, fellas and women, but mostly it's the fellas that have had to deal with OSHA. I've had to deal with them many, many times in my career as a tradesman. Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Okay, they show up, and what they're looking for is possible safety violations on a job site. Are you using a ladder that has one leg on it? Do you have your safety harness on backwards? Are you wearing your hard hat as a nut cup? I mean, do you have steel toe boots on? Do you have safety glasses on? They look at cords. They look at your tool. They're looking at things like that, right? OSHA doesn't have any business in who's vaccinated and who's not, okay? So they pass this thing where OSHA is saying that you have to be vaccinated, right? And the second one here says the second, which we'll call the healthcare mandate, was issued by the Department of Health and Human Services. It obligates hospitals and other care facilities that accept Medicare and medical funds, which is most hospitals, to issue a vaccine mandate for workers. This mandate includes medical and religious exemptions. A coalition of red state attorney generals challenged both rules, and after the lower courts divided, the Supreme Court scheduled a special Friday session to decide their fate. Now, here's what ended up happening in New York. They ran a bunch of healthcare professionals off. They brought in National Guardsmen, unvaccinated, not medical professionals. They're administering vaccines, right?
Yeah.
So they're administering vaccines to people. These are not trained medical professionals. They're also unvaccinated. They're administering the vaccines incorrectly, first of all, because they're not aspirating the shot, right? Like we were talking earlier, when they put the shot in, right? You're supposed to put it in and then pull back on the plunger. And if you see blood, then obviously you've hit a vein. And this stuff is not something that can go into your vein. It's not supposed to go into your
bloodstream.
Right. So they're not even checking. They're just boom. And most of the complications have come from people that have had the vaccine administered right into a vein. Right? So they run off all these people that are professionals that know what they're doing, and they bring in people that don't. Okay? And what a session it was. The nihilism, hypocrisy, and armchair epidemiology on display at times bled into rank anti-vaxism. The conservative supermajority did not bother to conceal its contempt for the Biden administration's efforts to root new policies in old statutes. Okay, it is unconstitutional to tell a free person that they have to have the shot. I am not anti-vaccine, okay? I'm not. I think vaccines are, they're a good thing. Look at polio, measles, mumps, rubella, smallpox. I mean, through that, humanity was able to eradicate smallpox in 1980. That was the last time there was a case of smallpox. But those are different vaccines. So now we've got this deal where they're saying, well, you're bringing in OSHA, and people are being threatened with their jobs. Now we're talking about people like myself. I've had COVID twice. Okay, I have natural immunity. I mean, why am I going to? I'm 27 times more likely, I have 27 times more the immunity than I would have from the vaccine. And my kid's not getting the vaccine either, because kids are asymptomatic, and they're coming out and they're putting forth this false information. Justice Sotomayor comes out and says there's 100,000 children hospitalized because of COVID. No, not the case. There's been 82,000 since 2020. I'll have to go back and look at the dates, but that's not 100,000. And these are children that are being hospitalized for what children get hospitalized for: accidents, eating an eraser,
Sticking a rock up their nose.
Yeah, eating too much Play-Doh, eating paste, whatever.
Breaking their arm.
But not horse paste. Yeah, broken bones, things of that nature. Kids go to the hospital. I don't know how many times I've been in and out of the urgent care, but now they're testing kids. So kids are, for the most part, asymptomatic. So to come out with and conflate these numbers and say that these children, and then they're saying that the hospital beds are filling up. No, they're not. It's just like what they said in Oklahoma City when the whole thing with ivermectin happened, and they said that all these people in Oklahoma City, that they overflowed the emergency rooms, and people with gunshot wounds couldn't get treatment because of all the people eating horse paste and overdosing on it. That information came from a doctor who hadn't worked at that hospital for over 2 months. And you can eat the horse paste. You might get a little sick, but there's not an overdose on the horse paste. It's not going to kill you. You might throw up. You might shit yourself. You know, it probably doesn't taste that good. I wouldn't recommend it. I personally have taken ivermectin, and I'll say it again, and I'll probably get shut down again. But I have the bottle sitting around somewhere, and it's a medical RX. It's a prescription from a medical doctor that I got, and it's not the horse paste. It is the pill that we have administered over 4 billion dosages to African countries and people all across the fucking planet. It is considered one of the NIH's essential medications. In 2015, the two gentlemen that came up with it, they both won Nobel Peace Prizes for ivermectin. And you've got these people out there saying, you know, that it's horse paste. I mean, what's going on here? We got a weird thing going on.
Yeah, what's that noise?
I don't know. Something's busy, buzzy, fizzy, fuzzy, busy, buzzy. Might be one of these lights. I don't know. Anyhow, it's just crazy. Okay, so Sotomayor, she comes out and says that, and then Alito, he comes out and you know, what his session was: nihilism, hypocrisy, and armchair epidemiology. So they come after Alito, right? And I mean, this is just absolutely ridiculous. We're going to scroll down here a little bit further. Yeah, let's go down a little further. We're going to get into... I'm trying to find sorry about this, but I'm trying to get down here to where Alito kind of weighs in. I mean, this is from Slate, right? I mean, this is just absolute gaslighting garbage. I mean, and we've seen this, okay? Like, here's a stat for you right now. We've got 82,000, I believe it's 82,367 plus have had breakthrough infections in Washington State, okay? Washington State has 7.77, almost 8 million people, okay? 5.2 million in Washington State have been fully vaccinated, okay? And there's been 82,367 people that have had breakthrough infections. Okay, now you might not think that's a very big number. It's not really that big of a number. I mean, when you figure it 5.2 million, but we're talking a number around 2%, okay? Now, what's the death rate of COVID? These are medical statistics here. .01, 0.1, I mean, if you're unvaccinated, it's like a 0.089% chance that you have of even going and being hospitalized. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. And so here we've got Judge Alito, right? Justice Alito. So Alito, you know, he scolded Preligar. He says, "I'm not making that point. I'm not making that point. I'm not making that point. There is a risk. I'm not making that point that I am." And so here's what Slate says. This is, you know, I'm not making that point I'm making. Is the way cases are discussed now. Government officials and Supreme Court justices can just insist that vaccines are safe and important and also dangerous and bad. Pick your own facts about the danger of COVID-19 and the efficacy of vaccines. It's your constitutional right to be for and against public health at the same time. Well, let me tell you what. If you get the vaccine and you can still shed the shit, and you can still get the shit, then what are we doing here? What are we fucking doing? I mean, this is retarded. It's literally retarded. I mean, let's go back here. Let me find that. I'm trying to find this. And the Solicitor General, Elizabeth Prelogar, she ends up having to agree with Alito that yes, and he said, and he's trying to say, he said, listen, he said, this is FDA. Basically, I'm gonna kind of just summarize this because I read it all earlier, and I'm not gonna sit here and go back through this. But I mean, he's basically saying that OSHA has never been in a position to enforce anything like a vaccine mandate. He says that yes, this has been FDA approved. Yes, the vaccines have been shown to be safe. Yes, if you take it, you're probably going to have a better chance of not becoming seriously ill. But he also says there is a small percentage of people that have had, serious, ramifications from it. That's a fact. It's happened. And the Solicitor General, she has to agree with it. And they're sitting there saying, well, you have to take it, and the risk is, the risk is less than the reward. So regardless, you have to take it. Now, how are they going to say that? I mean, for adolescent to like 29-year-old males, I mean, they're getting mitochondria, now I can't even say the goddamn thing. Basically, these heart, these heart problems. Now, it's 1 in 2,000. But think about that. I mean, that's not a very large number, but what if you're the 1 in 2,000?
Then it's a huge number.
Right. I mean, I watched a guy the other day talking to John Campbell. He was a professional mountain biker. He can't even ride his mountain bike. He can't do anything right now because he came down with this perichondritis. And that's where you have a problem around the lining of your heart. And he can't even ride his mountain bike. And that's what he's a professional mountain biker. He can't even get on his bike. And he's not trying to sue anybody or anything like that. He's just trying to get the information out there saying, hey, look, this is something that can happen. And it's been more prevalent in males that are, adolescent to, just shy of 30. And that's out there. And that's NIH numbers, people. I'm not making this shit up. I'm not just sitting here just saying goofy shit. I mean, and you've got Elizabeth Prelogar. She comes out and says that, yes, there's a risk. And that's all that Alito's saying. He's like, I don't want to be misunderstood. He goes, but I know I'm going to be misunderstood. But all he's doing is making the point that, yes, there are people that have been injured by the vaccine. Jimmy Dore is one of them. I mean, and, that's why this is something that it needs to be your own personal decision. And this idea of vaccinating children is just fucking stupid. It's absolutely retarded. I mean, we've become so absolutely crazy with this shit. I mean, you want to get the vaccine, get it. I'm not anti-vax. I'm not. But to just go this bonkers over it. I mean, if this thing was if it worked, the whole idea that you got to take the shot, take the jabs, and then every 3 to 4 months you got to go back and get a booster. That's not sustainable. And Big Pharma they're jumping all over that because the shots, the first deal with the government was they were coming out for like $15 a piece. They're going to jump to $175 a piece because that's what Big Pharma does. You people remember anybody that has to carry an EpiPen with them? How you used to be able to get an EpiPen for like $26, $27?
Now they're like $800.
No, $600, $700. Yeah. Or people, I have friends that are diabetic and have to take insulin, and it's breaking them. Because the cost of insulin is so ridiculously through the roof. And that's our healthcare system, people. And yet we want to spend trillions of dollars on these fucking wars and everything, but yet we don't want to have fucking healthcare for everybody.
Right.
We're all spending our taxpayer money. Like all the money that goes to bombing brown people, that's our taxpayer money, people. That's what we have put in, and we're just going to let these clowns do this shit. We're going to let Big Pharma do this shit. We're going to just sit back and watch these fucking Orwellian assholes do this to us. I'm sorry. Wake the fuck up. Pull your fucking head up out of your collective asses and wake the fuck up. It's time. All right? To sit here and make these fucking bullshit arguments and and it's just a division. Now now do we have a racial division, but we've also got this vaccine division. If the shit works and you get it, then you shouldn't fucking worry about it. And if it doesn't, and if you don't get it, and you die from the fucking virus, then guess what?
That's your prerogative.
It's your choice. We live in America, people. You can go and eat fucking Twinkies all day and watch Netflix until you fucking die of hyperobesity, and that's your fucking, that's your prerogative. You can smoke fucking 6 packs of cigarettes a day. Now you can't opt into euthanasia if you're terminally ill. You can't just, you got to sit there and ride that thing out, which I don't understand. I mean, if you got some kind of terminal illness and you're just going to end your days in fucking pain, then why can't you just go jump out of a plane with no parachute? Yeah. Or do whatever. It's your life. How do these people feel like they have control over what you choose to do or not to do?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to end it, end it.
Yeah, you should be able to. If it's your life, you should be able to. Take your death, put your death in your own hands.
Now it's what the Bible says. That you'll go to hell if you do that. The Bible said.
But does it say that?
I don't know.
I don't either.
It says a lot of things, and it says a lot of other things, and it contradicts itself continuously. But yeah, it basically says that suicide's like the Catholic Church believes that anyway.
Right.
I think if you're terminally ill and I think if you're at a point in time where you've been given like 2 weeks to live or whatever.
And you're in constant pain.
Right. Or, there's some people that find out about that shit just like that. Boom. Guess what? You got a month. Well, dude, why the fuck can't I go strap on my snowboard and go ride that fucker off the biggest cliff on the fucking side of the mountain? I mean, why? I don't want ski patrol to come find me. Just leave me out there. Not the fucking bears or whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, our bodies are just fucking, it's just a car.
Yeah.
I mean, you die, you're not in your car anymore, man. Who knows where you go? It's the great unknown. But this is just ridiculous. These people this judge, Justice Alito, he's not saying anything other than just saying, hey. And he keeps reiterating, to use Jen Psaki's favorite word, let me reiterate this to you. He's not saying that he's anti-vaccine. All he's doing is making the point that, hey, the FDA's approved it. The efficacy looks like it's okay. Like, if you do get ill, you're not going to be as seriously ill as what they keep saying, which I don't get that whatsoever. Well, if you do get sick, then you won't get quite so sick. But you could still get sick. I mean, and then this one, this Omicron is,
My aunt and uncle just got over it.
Yeah.
And they said that it was like having a cold with
a little fatigue.
Some muscle cramps.
Right.
And that's
it. And it hits everybody different.
Yeah, that's...
when I had the Delta, that was basically what it was for me. I realized it when I lost my sense of smell and taste. I knew that I had it, and I took the dosage of the ivermectin, which was 15 milligrams, and within 24 hours I was fine. Whereas when I had it the first go around, it was 48 hours of serious misery. I quit breathing. It almost took me out. And then you got these people saying that, ivermectin and you're a horse paste eater and this and that and the other thing. It's like, well, fuck. It's an essential medication on the list with the fucking NIH and the WHO. We've administered over 4 billion doses of it to people to cure river blindness and other parasitic infections. How do you the reason that they're having a problem with it is because Big Pharma is not making money off of it.
Right.
There's no money in it. There's no money. They can't take the $15 shot and bump it up to $175 with ivermectin. You know? And I'm not saying one way or another. I'm speaking of my personal experience. Okay, that's it. This is a personal experience of mine. Having had it twice, I know the second time was a hell of a lot easier. Especially because after I got done with the first time and saw Pierre Corey talking about how the ivermectin worked, I got the prescription. And I was sitting on it, just waiting in case it came back around again. And when it did, I took it and I was fine. So you can say whatever you want out there. I'm just telling you my personal experience with the shit. And that's the same with Joe Rogan. And if you go back and I should pull the video up from CNN. They took Joe Rogan and they made him look like green when he did his video when he was talking about taking monoclonal antibodies and ivermectin and the things that he took when he realized when he got tested. His original video, he looked just fine. The one they played on CNN, they turned his skin like greenish gray. Like he almost looked like an alien. They completely manipulated it. That's sure. CNN for you. Good people. But anyway, I suppose that's about enough. But here's the word of the day I'd like you to leave with everybody is equanimity. And that's calmness in a tough situation. And I think that's what we need to fucking kind of try and do here. You know, let's be a little calmer about this shit. It's a tough situation. But you know what? Let's just calm it down. Let's take about 20% off of it, okay?
Just take it down a notch.
Quit getting triggered, wound up. Quit canceling people for fuck's sake. You know, I signed up on Getter today because I'm sick of getting shut down. You know, and this show's gonna go on. I'm gonna make the switch and start moving more towards Rumble because, you know, the suck, and then Google. Nah. Fuck it. I want to go someplace where at least I can speak my mind. And you know what? If you don't like what I have to say, you can turn the channel because guess what, people? On a radio, on a computer, on anything, there's an on-off switch and there's a way to change the channel. If you don't like what you're hearing, you don't have to listen.
Don't have to.
You don't have to get triggered. Back in the day, you just... Now you just go www something else. You don't have to listen. You don't have to get triggered. You don't have to get angry. You don't have to get all stupid. You don't have to stomp around. Now, am I getting angry about this shit? Yes. Am I being hypocritical? I don't think so because this is just also fucking stupid. You know, you've got Ohio Solicitor General Benjamin Flowers. Okay, here's another one. He insisted that vaccines probably don't stop spread or transmission since he himself has COVID-19 despite being vaccinated. He was double vaccinated. This is Benjamin Flowers, the Solicitor General from Ohio. He has COVID. Double vaccinated. Okay? These are facts. This is not just hearsay. This is not medical misinformation. The man he took the vaccines. He's got COVID. And he likened it to the flu. Wow. That's what we're going to fight about? Where's the flu shots at? Where's the flu shots at this year? What's up with that? I didn't see anything about flu shots anywhere. Kind of weird how that went away the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It used to be the biggest deal in the world. Come October, November, get your flu shot, get your flu shot, get your flu shot.
Give you a little sticker, like the I voted sticker. I got my flu shot. I've not even had it brought up one time to me. Usually every year there's somebody on Bookface or something that's, I got my flu shot today, go get yours. Like, yeah, no, never had one in my life. Not anti-vaccine though. I just have never had one. I've had them. I've never had them.
Sometimes never had one.
Sometimes they don't work.
Well, yeah, it was 2018. They had a different variant of it. I think they inoculated everybody with the vaccine for influenza A, and it turned out to be an influenza B year. 80 some thousand people died, but they were mostly elderly, or the thing is with the COVID thing, you got COPD. If you're an old ass motherfucker and you've been smoking your whole life, if you're obese, overweight, don't do nothing, hey, chances are the common cold's going to get you.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to go. If you're old, you haven't taken care of yourself. If you're young, you haven't taken care of yourself. And then there's your anomalies. Everything's got an anomaly. There's always a fucking, there's always a contingency. There's always the, I don't know, the variance from the rule, I guess. But this is dumb. To see a publication like this put this stupid shit out, it's ridiculous. And then to think about how many people read this article and just got wound up and fired up about it, I mean, like, Jesus. And we got a guy that doesn't even know where he's at. He has to read a fucking card, like what I have to write to do the show. They put one in, his staff puts one in his fucking, in his jacket every morning. Basically saying, this is where he didn't even know that he lived at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
No.
I mean, most people know that's the fucking White House, especially if you're the president.
I mean, you would think so.
But then, I don't know. He's got to be reminded. And he doesn't know the Declaration of Independence. The thing. Anyway, all right. Nirvana's over here yawning, so
yeah.
I guess we're going to wrap it up. Call it a night. I don't know if there's anything else I had on my radar, but I guess that's going to do it for now. So, anyway, here's my advice. Don't eat any yellow snow. Stay away from the yellow snow because it's certain to have Omicron in it.
Definite.
Yellow snow equals Omicron, people.
You heard it here first.
No yellow snow. Peace out. Maybe.
Sitting next to you, yeah, baby. Hey, beautiful, how you feeling tonight? In a crowd, you're the only one inside. And me and my brothers are feeling alright. You know this night is gonna turn out fine. So come here, baby. Bye.